those rhymes. Didn't have my AirPods in. Apple turning me into an Android again. Everything that we grew to love is becoming so thin, like paper. And what's that good for? Plus I'm playing Monopoly. Sometimes checker just throw over the board. If you a sore loser or you just a power control freak, abuser, I hate to call you a fool or a loser, because I like warmth, but I'm not a fan of hellfire. And how about you? Everybody angel wing gotta go through a little growing pains. Oh wait, forgot about that name. Trying to get back in the Ozark, but I keep going for the one-hit to quit this. I watch Netflix explain the mind. Psychedelics ease the brain. You don't be scared of dying, but you have a couple of them gold caps supplying. What's good, y'all? It's the Fresh 2020 vlogcast. Yes, I'm driving. Yes, I have a mask with me. Yes, I got gloves. Yes, I got hand sanitizer. And I'm following all the rules. Happy Sunday, happy Easter, happy, what the homie say? Dead rat, rodent, bunnies laying egg. I don't know, it was very clever. I consider this to be a silly holiday. Psychedelics, let's talk about it. What's good? Episode what? 84? I like that. It feels nice. I like that. So, I hope y'all listened to the recommended album from the last episode, that Prodigy. I hope you're listening to Royce the Allegory. I don't know what else you're doing with your life. Content-wise, I started this book called The Hike, an audio book that was recommended to me by a friend who's never steered me wrong in a content recommendation. So I'm already on chapter 4 and it's dope. So yeah, check that out. And they also recommended to watch Netflix Explains, a little documentary series. I think they're on season 2. Unfortunately, there's the pandemic episode featuring Bill Gates that came out November 7th. Wow. The timing. Go look that up. Check it out. Anyway, I saw the thing about the psychedelics. This is Netflix Explains the Mind. So they got meditation, mindfulness, psychic, stuff like that, right? And there was an episode about psychedelics. And I just glossed over it. I was like, nah, been there, done that. I've seen and heard many stories, DMT, the spirit molecule, and they're all, they're wordy, don't seem credible. He's like, no, watch this one. It's like the best explanation of a psychedelic experience that I've ever heard or seen. I was like, okay, cool. I got 20 minutes for that. I got time for that. And so I watched it last night. It was fantastic. Shout out to Emma Stone. She narrated it, which I enjoy. I do like her, what do you call it, a raspy voice? A smoker's voice doesn't sound sexy, so I'm gonna say raspy voice. And shout out to that movie, was it Birdman, where her and Michael Keaton, fire. Anyway, she narrates it, and they talk about psilocybin, they talk about LSD, acid, right? And I feel like most people know the lore of Timothy Leary and how he discovered or brought to the forefront in the 60s with the whole civil rights movement, the flower child movement, San Francisco. I feel like that was like the birthplace of the psychedelic movement. And in our lifetime, so let's see, people born in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early aughts, it's like you only know a world where psychedelics are vilified, they're demonized, they're looked down upon, they're seen as dangerous, you could abuse them, they can make you crazy. Bad news bears, right? And what's crazy is like the way the scheduling is, the legality of certain substances based on the federal, what do you call it? banned illicit substance. I don't know what to call it. But it's like they got, heroin, cocaine, cannabis. Marijuana is was up there, Schedule 1 drug. No medical benefit and a high possibility of addiction or abuse or whatever. Ridiculous. And come on. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, California, all these states have quote unquote legalized cannabis, marijuana for for medical purposes years and years ago, in the mid-90s as far as I know, in California. And then just as 2016, 17, whenever they voted for the Adult Use Act to make it legal for people over 21. The point is, the psychedelics, the LSD, the acid, the psilocybin mushrooms, magic mushrooms, those are also scheduled the same way. Like, there's no medical use for them, no therapeutic benefit, and people can abuse it. None of that is true, right? It's like this big taboo. And I remember Rick Doblin was a guest, I want to say on the Tim Ferriss podcast. Confident of that. Was he on Joe Rogan also? I'm not sure. MAPS, something multidisciplinary. I'm sorry, I don't remember what it stands for. But they're on the forefront of doing like legit clinical trials on psychedelics, and how, like, for example, psilocybin or magic mushrooms can help with depression, anxiety, fear of death. So like people that get a terminal diagnosis of cancer or what have you, a lot of them report anecdotal evidence of, even after one use, one trip, one experience, guided by professional, a shaman, whatever you want to call it, spirit guide, I don't know, marked improvement. Many of them have been quoted saying it was the most transformative experience of my life, the most, like a religious experience, spiritual experience. And the common theme, the common thread that I have found, heard, and also confirmed by this Netflix Explained content, people say that the feeling of interconnectedness, I'm one with the universe, I am connected to all living things. Love is the answer. Sounds cliche, perhaps, but that is what people are reporting that try these substances, plant medicines. I like that term. That term seems to be catching on. And man, just incredible. I find it to be, man, who said this? So it was stream of consciousness, you know how I is. So the Doors, right? Jim Morrison. The reason they're called the Doors is because the doors of perception. Go back and check out, or look up Aldous Huxley. He wrote The Brave New World, but I believe he also wrote Doors of Perception or something. But Jim Morrison he's got a fantastic quote, and it was something like, the only way to achieve clarity is through the derangement of the senses. I'm butchering the quote, but he was about that life. Jimi Hendrix, famous for playing amazing guitar in front of tens of thousands of people while under the influence of LSD. To such a small amount, 250 micrograms or something is a therapeutic dose, effective dose. Steve Jobs on record doing acid, LSD. Not to party, but to unlock pieces of your brain, sections of your brain that you were previously unable to access or use or understand, whatever the case may be. Am I a proponent of psychedelics? Think about that. I would say yes. I'm a proponent of removing the stigma. So even though the Prop 64 in California, where cannabis became legal for adult use, I was against it for many reasons. I knew that it was not going to be beneficial for small business owners and the medical dispensaries that were operating under the Prop 215, the Compassionate Care Act. I believe there's what's the other one? Is it SB 420? I'm not really sure, but it was decriminalized for people that had recommendations from their doctor, and the system it wasn't perfect, but I feel like it was better than what we have now with the really high tax rate, 30%. Big business seems like they're poised in position to take this thing over, and just like the other states here in the West, they made some claims and promises that they would keep the medical programs intact, and they did not. So it seems. Also, the slush fund and the lack of oversight on the committee that California voted in. Anyway, getting sidetracked here. The only good thing to come from that, in my opinion, is that the stigma has been removed to such a degree that people that normally would never even consider using cannabis medicinally, recreationally, otherwise. Again, that's a flawed argument. We'll talk about that later. You can't really distinguish recreational from medicinal. It's always both, right? I'm trying to think of another example where it's always both. Can't think of one at the moment. But anyway, so I'm in favor. I'm a proponent of removing that stigma. They're doing trials, on people with PTSD that come back from fighting in a violent conflict, and these plant medicines help them. And another thing that was great about that Netflix Explains the Mind psychedelic episode, they showed like the brain waves of somebody, a normal brain, regular, sober brain, whatever you want to call it. Sober, high, I don't like those terms either. Elevated is a nice one. Check that one out. And it was literally showing the brain scan of somebody who was having a psychedelic experience, and it was just firing, like fireworks. And they were saying it makes connections that you would not normally be able to make, like literally in the brain, like neurons connecting different pathways that were not, these were untraveled pathways in the brain. So somebody else who said this, I've heard Joe Rogan talk about this. Maybe was it with Terrence McKenna's brother, perhaps? But the fact that you and I, as sovereign citizens, I know it's a loaded term, with rights and liberties and protections afforded to us by ourselves, first of all, and then supported by our governments, we're not free to explore our own consciousness, to alter our consciousness, right? We can drink alcohol, we can use nicotine, we get, in the medical system, you get access to these mind-altering substances. It's crazy, and people use come on, COVID-19, coronavirus, they're using therapies and drugs that are off-label. It was designed for this, but they're using it for this. Like, come on now. So I look at it as a human rights issue, as a freedom of speech, but just like, come on, it's in me, right? DMT, that's like the granddaddy, right? Everybody knows about ayahuasca, how you can still go to certain places, and under the umbrella of a religious experience, you can have these encounters with these plant medicines. Man, this is deep, man. I want to get into this more, but I gotta go. I'm out of time. Got things to do. Remember, give your body the things it needs to fight the disease. Look into this. I think it's very much worth your time to at least explore psychonauts, psychedelic knots. Don't you want to know? Don't you want to have the most complete understanding and experience of what your mind and your brain is interacting with in life? I mean, come on now. This is random. I have an instrumental here, and this is 101 Beats, Dave East, Rick Ross type beat, Heights, produce 101. Me, I rap for 2 reasons. Fun and therapy is crazy. Well, aren't we all? Everybody's holding pineal gland, third eye. Unless you got them glasses like CeeLo Green or Andre 3K 3000. degrees. What's going to happen when we get to that year? I don't know. We'll see. Peace, family. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Happy Resurrection Day if you're like super grammar police type person. I bet Jesus was in there stunting on it, right? You know, behind a rock. Like, I ain't even dead, but I'm gonna wait 3 days just for the story. I'm gonna try on all these different outfits. Ooh, I'm gonna stun on them. I got my hair curled. I got my locks looking nice. You know what I'm saying? These hoes is is healing up. Ooh wee! Got me a mani-pedi divine. And just rolled that rock to the side like Magneto. I'm crazy. I'm tripping. No blasphemy. I'm just being silly and funny. Freestyle Fresh out. Daily vlog. Episode 100 coming very soon. I'm so excited to share it with y'all. Be safe. Be happy, healthy, happy quarantine. Don't let nobody intervene.